before you now with open hearts, open minds, and just put aside any distractions to hear what you've got to say to us through Joe. So thanks for Joe, and be with her, we pray. Amen. See you soon, guys.
Well, hey, Kerith Youth. I hope you guys are doing well, and I know it's the 15th of January, but Happy New Year. I hope your Christmas was good. Why don't you put in the chat, how was Christmas? How was your New Year? What was your favourite Christmas present? And I'm just going to throw it out there. Yes, I have got a Tucker Budson hoodie. If you don't know who Tucker is, oh my, I'm joking. Just go onto Instagram, type in Tucker, and you'll see who he is, because shout out to Georgia Christie for getting me this hoodie, because if you know me, you know I love this dog. He's a very cute golden retriever. But another present that I got was, it was this. I got a bucket for Christmas. It came with a sponge. It came with another sponge. And it came with, I don't even know what it is, but it's blue liquid. But basically, I'm just going to use it over there. I got that so I could clean my car. And like, you know when you were a kid and you've got socks for Christmas? Like, that is how I felt. Like, I felt hurt. I was like, what is this present? This is ridiculous. But the thing is, kind of as you grow up, getting socks getting socks as a present actually is a pretty decent present, because actually, like, your attitude around it and your perspective of it changes. And when you're more grateful for things, then it just changes your perspective on things. And actually, that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. My 1 point today is that an attitude of gratitude, it changes your perspective. Let me say that again. An attitude of gratitude changes your perspective. And I'm sure I can say on behalf of all of us, we started 2021 not how we really intended it to be. But us down in the south, we, like, within a few days, we went into a national lockdown, and we were like, this is not the start of 2021. But I was thinking, and I've been really challenged, what if we had an attitude of gratitude then? What if 2021 was going to be one of the best years yet? Wouldn't it make this year so much better if we changed our attitude to have a better gratitude towards things? And that's what I've titled my preach today, and that is 2021 perspective. And I want to talk today around gratitude. And Paul in the Bible, he talks a lot about gratitude. He writes in 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 16 to 18. This is what he says. Rejoice always. Pray continually. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. And then again, he writes in Philippians 4, verse 4, rejoice always. I will say it again, rejoice. And you might be thinking, well, Paul, if he's writing about being grateful, he's probably living a dream life. He's probably living it up in a 5-star hotel, and he's probably just having a really easy life. For some context, Paul, when he wrote this in Philippians 4, Paul, he was in and out of prison because he was being persecuted for being a Christian. And I can imagine being in prison, he felt lonely, he felt angry, he felt frustrated, he didn't have all of his freedom, he didn't know what was going on, he didn't live his life like he intended to, yet he was saying, rejoice, I'm going to be grateful. And we could think today, we're not living life how we thought we were going to. We could be a little bit like Paul. Yes, we're not in prison for being persecuted, but we're not living life how we're meant to be. We're kind of locked up like Paul was. Yet Paul was saying, rejoice, be grateful. And I have got 3 points for you today as why I think he says this. And I'm going to be real with you that these are challenging points. And I'm being like, oh my days, God, this is a challenging word. But you know, I think this is a word that God has placed in my heart, and I'm excited. We'll go back. Here we go. Okay, so I was saying there are 3 reasons why Paul says have gratitude. And the first point is this, is we can't control our circumstances. We can't control what happens towards us, like that situation right there. I can't control it, and Mike stops working. We can't control our circumstances, but we can change our attitudes towards them. Let me say that again. We can't control our circumstances, but we can change our attitude towards them. And don't get me wrong, I look back to 2020 and it wasn't all fun. Like, we had a lack of freedom. There was a lot of change. We didn't get to go to school. We didn't get to see our friends. Holidays were cancelled. All of our plans that we had, they might have been completely gotten rid of. And the list goes on. And I don't know about you, but I thought 1st of January 2021, everything was going to be fine. We would have our freedom back and we would be winning and life would be like a massive party again. But it's not like that. And here we are in a lockdown, and it can be tempted just to think, actually, 2021 is just going to be a rip-off. No, there's no point. And I would say if we have an attitude of just saying, do you know what, it's just going to be like 2020 all over again and I can't be bothered, then 2021 isn't going to be a good year for you. But if you have an attitude of gratitude, it is going to change your perspective. And for you, it might be the same. You have same attitudes around COVID, just thinking, oh, this is never going to change. Or maybe there's a family situation which it just never seems to be changing. It's just ongoing. Or you have issues within your friendship group and you don't know if you're going to be friends with these people and it's just such a struggle. Or maybe for you, you've been fighting mental health and physical health issues and it just seems like an ongoing turmoil and nothing seems to change. You wake up every single day and every day just seems dark and every single day seems pointless and you're just like, I just don't get the point of what's going on. Or maybe the amount of schoolwork is overwhelming and doing it online, it just seems too much. But the thing is, we all have circumstances that are just completely out of our control. But you are in control of your attitude and how you respond to them. You are in control of how you respond to when things happen. And I have a story for you when this was very true in my life. I was in year 13 and I did BTEC science, big up BTEC subjects. I loved it. And my teacher had the audacity, I'm joking, I'm being a joker, but she became pregnant. And she was like the BTEC marker person, which meant we couldn't get any of our work done once she left. So I had to do a year's worth of coursework in 2 months. It was so insane. And if you knew me back then, you would have known my attitude. It was awful. It was disgusting. And don't get me wrong, I was put in an unfair circumstance. Like, that was rough and I didn't like it. But when I had a really bad attitude, nothing changed. I didn't do any of my work. I was just there like, what's the point? I don't want to do it anymore. But when I started to change my attitude, when I was grateful for the support, when I was grateful for how my friends were supporting me and for how teachers were helping me, then it changed my attitude and then I got things done. So that's the first point. We can't control our circumstances, but you can control how you respond. You can control your attitude. Number 2, gratitude is found in the small and simple things as well as the big. Looking back to 2020, it can be difficult to find things to be grateful about. I know, because so much stuff got cancelled. I can relate. I was meant to go on holidays, go to weddings, and none of it happened. Yet finding gratitude in the small things really helps too. And I was just thinking, what are some things that I was grateful for in 2020? And I don't know about you, but my friendships, I've been so grateful for friendships. Like all of a sudden, just the connection, even if it was online, like throwback to house party, like lockdown number 1. I was just on house party like every day, but connecting with people, like I really valued that. Or technology, being able to carry on education and my uni work. I know it's not ideal, but we are still able to get our qualifications because of technology. Or our church relationships. Through church online, we were still able to gather. I'm so grateful for Youth TV that we still get to do youth. It might not be how we like expected it or how it used to be, but we're still able to do this. So what is something that you're grateful for? Maybe put it in the chat or have a think. What's something that you've been grateful for in 2020? And if I'm really real with you, me trying to come up with these things, it was a really, really struggle. I found it really hard. And then God, he really challenged me by reminding me actually how much I have. And I remember at the beginning of 2020, we were like, it's year 2020, come on, it's going to be the best year yet. 2020, it's going to be the year. I'm going to have 2020 vision. And we might just think, lol, scrap that. It wasn't good. But actually, what if 2020 was the year when we realized, actually, I know what is important? What if 2020 was the year when we realized what matters the most, when we realized, actually, I'm going to focus on what I do have rather than what I don't have. In 2020, we realized all the stuff that we have connection with friendships or whatever it might be. We have stuff, but we were focused on the things we do not have instead. But what if we realize, actually, we need to be thinking about what I do have? And at the beginning of this year, I've decided I'm going to do the Bible in 1 year. Don't know how I'm going to get on. So far, so good. The first day, it was reading Genesis chapter 1. And God really spoke to me as I was reading this, because it was all about creation. And in summary, basically, Genesis 1 summed up, in 6 days, God created the world. In 6 days, God created light. He created the sky. He created the land, the seas, the plants and the trees. He created the sun and the moon and the stars. He created creatures that live in the sea and ones that fly. He created animals that live in the land and live in space in the image of God. And I look back to 2020 and forward to 2021, and I realize we still have all of these things. We still have creation. We still have the fact that God is looking out for us. We still have the fact that God, he is creating and he is doing new things. And I've never appreciated so much being outside, just being able to have fresh air and just appreciating nature and creation. But I think we took it for granted. And God challenged me on this so much. And he asked myself of saying, how much have you taken this for granted? And I was like, I think quite a bit. The thing is, without gratitude, we take things for granted. Without being thankful for the small and for the big things, we take it all for granted. And I was taking the fact that God, he's still creating. He's still doing new things. And Kerith Youth, can I remind you today that in the creation story, and like today, God is still on the move. God, he is still faithful. He is still creating. He's still bringing dead things to life. He is still bringing new things. Yes, it might not be how we expect it to be, but God, he is still doing new things, and we can be grateful for this. So that was number 2, grateful in the small and simple things. And point number 3, my favorite one, I think. The reason why Paul was able to be grateful is because he realized we have the life and the death and the resurrection of Jesus to be grateful for. Can I remind you today that actually, we're sinners, we've done wrong stuff, and actually we deserve, the punishment. The biggest trial that we will face is sin and death. But Jesus, when he died on the cross, he took our place, and he is victorious because of what he has done. And because he is victorious on the cross, we get to share in this victory, knowing that he has overcome all things. You see, when he died on the cross, he rose again 3 days later, which means nothing we can face. We know he has overcome all things. And this is the story of Easter. But you know what? We should be grateful for the life and the death and the resurrection of Jesus all year round. No matter what we face this year, whether it's COVID or school or friendships or work or family issues or mental health issues or physical health issues, we rejoice because we know Jesus, he has overcome all things. So we will rejoice. We will give gratitude because of what he has done for us. We know Jesus has overcome all things, and therefore we have this eternal hope. You see, one day there will be a day where our fleshly bodies, where they do pass away. But when we're in a relationship with Jesus, we will get to be with Christ in glory. We know that no matter else what happens, when we glorify Jesus, we get to be with him. And this is why Paul says rejoice. He knew his hope was in Jesus, nothing else, nothing of this world. Because if we put our hope in the things of this world, they're just going to fade away. But when we put our hope and our faith in Jesus, we know that is not going to pass away. And you see, Paul, he was blessed in life. Like, he got to live a good life, even though he was in and out of prison. But God blessed him, because when the praises go up, the blessings, they come down. So Kerith Youth, can I ask you, can I challenge you this year? Would this be a year where you're grateful for things? Would this be a year where you decide to be grateful in the small things? Would this be a year where you keep on praising God no matter what comes your way, because you know he has overcome all things? And this year, I'm going to start a new habit. And I've got this jar here. And actually, what I'm going to do at the end of every week, I'm going to write down something that I'm grateful for. It could be big, it could be small. So I know at the end of 2021, I can look back knowing that there has been some good things in this year. And maybe you want to do the same, or write it down in a journal. But again, an attitude of gratitude, it will change your perspective. And we're about to go into worship now. But I would just encourage you, during this time of worship, just think, what is something that you're grateful for in the last 2 weeks? Because I promise you, when we have an attitude of gratitude, it will change your perspective and it will make this year a little bit more enjoyable. So let's go into worship and let's think, what is something that you're grateful for?
Hey guys, welcome to worship. We're just going to sing "O Come to the Altar."